Good morning, students. Welcome to our secretarial duties class. Today we were to begin a new unit, a new topic on meetings and conferences. Meetings and conferences. So our meetings and conferences are here, and our meetings and conference involves the agenda. You must have an agenda for the meeting. So the secretary should prepare an agenda for the meeting. An agenda is a program of the items of business to be used at a meeting in order in which they are to be taken. So an agenda is a program of the items of business to be used in a meeting. So we begin with an agenda. So that is the definition for an agenda, and we must have a notice, an agenda, a notice of that agenda. We should be prepared in advance. So to prepare that agenda, the agenda is supposed to be sent to the members of the meeting or of the to the organization to give the adequate notice and enable them to prepare over the items to be discussed prior to the meeting. The period of the notice is laid down by the constitution of the organization and is normally 7 to 14 days. You are supposed to give 7 to 14 days an allowance after preparing the agenda. It's a custom of the committee meetings to arrange the dates for the next meeting. So the committee should arrange for the date of the next meeting. The agenda usually should include the notice convening the meeting, giving the day, date, time, and the place of the meeting. That is the venue where the meeting should be held. Then the agenda is prepared by the secretary in consultation with the chairperson, and the items dealt with at the previous meeting are taken into consideration. The secretary should make a note of any matters requiring the attention of the committee so that they may be included in the agenda for the next meeting. So we are going to prepare an example of a notice and agenda, a notice of an agenda, an example. So we are going to have a sample example of a notice and agenda. So we begin by indicating the name of the Kanban preparing that agenda. So we have an example here, the XYZ Works Sports Club Committee. This is the committee preparing the notice and agenda. So you are supposed to introduce the notice by giving the notice when the meeting will be held, the date and where and the time when the meeting will be held. So you write below that title that a meeting of a committee of a XY Sports Club will be held at the Works Committee on Friday, 14th February, or whichever the month that you are. You give an example of that date, the particular date that you are using. And then below that notice, below the notice you write now, you outline the agenda of the meeting. You list them. You itemize them from number 1. You begin with apologies. Apologies for absentees, for the absence. And then number 2 is the minutes of the previous meeting should be read by the secretary. to be confirmed by the members whether they are true. Number 3, we have the matters arising. And then number 4, we have correspondence. Correspondence, which includes any written document that may be of concern in the meeting. Then agenda number 5 is the treasurer's financial statement. Treasurer's financial statement. So the treasurer should give us the statement, the final report on what has been happening throughout. We have agenda number 6, a 5th annual dinner arrangement. That is an example of the agenda that was to be discussed. They were to discuss about the 5th annual dinner arrangements. Number 7, purchase of cricket bats and balls. And then to consider, number 8, to consider suggestion for future sporting activities. Number 9, any other business. Number 9 is very important. You should have it, any other business. And then the last agenda, number 10, the date of the next meeting. So once you prepare your agenda in that manner, it will be complete. And the next part is the chairperson's agenda. We should have the chairperson's agenda. So the chairperson's agenda contains more information than the ordinary agenda. This one contains more information than the ordinary agenda, and the space is provided on the right hand side of the paper for the chairpersons to make the notes. So it has a space prepared for the notes of the chairperson to make some notes on your right hand side. So the chairperson's agenda it contains more information that is not found in the ordinary agenda. So you are going to list your agenda here, the normal agenda, but you leave another space here for the note to be made by the chairperson. So that is how the chairperson's agenda looks like. So additional information gives the chairperson the relevant details which may be needed during the course of the meeting. So this chairperson's agenda, it helps the chairperson to be able to get all the details that are required during the meeting. And then we have the next part, which is very important, is the business meeting terms. There are terms that are used in the meeting, business meeting terms. And these are the terms used in a meeting. We have terms that are used in a meeting. So we have then there are many. They are listed there in the notes that we have in our web. We are going to get the notes there, and they are well explained. The points are well explained. Each and every term is explained. So make sure you go through them as they are. And in case you have any question, in case you are not able to understand any of the points, any of the terms that are used in the meeting, you are free to ask through our chat and through our WhatsApp group. So we have a list of them, which you'll get from number 1. They are from number 1, even from our notes in our books. from number 1 to 34. We have those terms used in the meeting, in a business meeting. So go through them, please, and then make sure that you understand them where possible, and in case of any challenge, make an attempt to ask. Be free to ask. And then in our next lesson we are going to look at the minutes. We are going to look at the minutes. Will be our next topic, minutes. So please go through the points first and write down the notes. Try to analyze them one by one and you'll be okay. Thank you for listening.